meaning of Prabhupada's journey in this event is that he had a vision and that he fulfilled his vision. And what his vision was, as he shared in the beautiful poem that he wrote here in this harbor, was that he had faith that Lord Krishna's holy name and the message of Lord Krishna could change people's hearts, and it could change people's lives, and it could fulfill their needs and their innermost cravings, as we've heard many devotees testify. And we know Prabhupada thought big. We've heard a few stories about that, and we read in Prabhupada Lilamrita how Prabhupada thought big. There's a story when Prabhupada was in New York, had been there for a few months, and he was beginning to plan going to San Francisco, and the devotees were thinking, well, you're not really going to leave New York because this is a New York movement. It's the Lower East Side cool thing, and there's no way you're going to go to San Francisco because they're just not able to comprehend it the way we are here in New York. But Prabhupada, his vision was bigger. His vision was San Francisco, and from there the world. And we're all beneficiaries of that. So we're here to celebrate with Srila Prabhupada doing his voyage out here 50 years ago. And I was thinking of Prabhupada, if we were able to hear Prabhupada speak to us now, I think he'd probably say, important thing happened 50 years ago, good things have happened the last 50 years, what's next? You know, I think of the stories when they opened the Vrindavan temple in India after so much struggle, and then Prabhupada immediately the same day was talking about what's next and more book distribution, and he wasn't ready to sit and say, okay, good job, sit down, take your credit, and relax. He's immediately thinking what's next. So for all of us, just a little reminder, what's immediately next is we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of Prabhupada's coming, and then next year we're leading up to the 50th anniversary of his movement, which he founded in a city a little bit south of here, not as important a city. I won't want to offend the local people here. When we get there next year, we'll talk about that. But he founded his movement and his society, and it's spread all over the world. And I was amazed to see there's devotees here from New York, there's devotees from London, there's devotees from Toronto, there's devotees from Dallas, there's devotees from Florida, there's devotees from Washington, D.C., there's devotees from France, all around the world because of this event here. And next year we should be thinking it's the 50th anniversary of his society, and what can we, just like we know, I'll tell you that you may not know this, a year ago Calcutta had no plans for the 50th anniversary or Prabhupada's leaving. Even maybe 8 months ago it was like, well, geez, maybe we should do something. And we know they caught on fire with this idea of, hey, it's the 50th anniversary of Prabhupada's leaving India. We need to make this a big deal. We need to spread the word and let people be aware of it. And in just a matter of a few months, as Radha Swami spoke about, and many of us have seen the videos on Mayapur TV, etc., it was a huge event, 30,000 plus people. The governor of West Bengal, etc., said it was a beautiful event. And I don't want to pop the bubble of any of you, but this boat wasn't planned a year and a half ago. There was a few devotees that came forward and said, hey, we really need to do something big. And they got together and they've organized a fantastic 2-day festival for all of us to participate in. How many of you know that the flag of India was raised for the first time on Thursday over City Hall to glorify and show appreciation for Srila Prabhupada's contribution? Isn't that amazing? Srila Prabhupada ki. And I know many devotees here worked very, very hard at that. And Priyari Mohan and Amit's last name is? Amit Dixit, Prabhu, who's been working tirelessly, and so many devotees have been working so hard. And the mayor also made a proclamation that Thursday was His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Day in Boston. Okay. Now for all of us, the fact is that's past history. It's glorious history. But there's probably 100 cities represented on this bus. There's maybe Mayapur TV goes all around the world. You count Mars and Venus and all the people that are watching, you know. Millions of cities perhaps. So the question is, have you made a plan to get Prabhupada Day in your city? What are we doing to make sure that in Los Angeles, which is the seat of some of the biggest festivals in the world, and LA devotees are shaking their heads, by Krishna's grace they're going this way, not that way. Yes. So we need to all be thinking now and planning. We should be thinking, what am I going to do next year? Because we're here appreciating Prabhupada, but it's not that important actually that we're appreciating Prabhupada. In one sense, it's the most important thing, but in another sense, it's not. More important is, what about the millions and millions of people that don't know about Prabhupada yet? What about the millions of people that he came to touch their lives, but haven't heard the message of Vasudeva the way we have? Haven't heard the mantra, had a chance to associate with devotees and realize what a wonderful opportunity this is. So certainly Prabhupada would say to us all, you've done a good job, but what's next? So I would just request all of us here to be thinking individually. Go back to your temple. If you're the temple president, or if you know the temple president, or if you don't know, find out, talk to them. What are we planning? How are we going to make the 50th anniversary a very, very powerful thing? Because people will be watching. When you have a 50th anniversary, people pay attention. And they don't just want to know you're having a birthday. They want to know what difference have you made in the world, and what are the differences that you're making. And I know sometimes as a senior devotee, and then I've got gray hair, so I'm a senior devotee. Devotees sometimes say, oh, it was so important what you did, and I missed that opportunity. What was it like in the early days? But that's an illusion, because the early days are going to be for the next 200 or 300 years. We've just scratched the surface. We got one boatful here. The whole city should be proclaiming this, and hopefully 50, 100 years from now, they won't have enough boats. That's how big Prabhupada thought. Sometimes we think, okay, spread the holy name to every town and village. So, a Sankirtan van drives through town, yells out the window, Haribo, Haribo. Okay, check that off the list. That's not the way Prabhupada saw things. He really wanted to make a difference in people's lives, and we are his legacy. We are all benefited from him, and now we have to continue to take up that spirit and carry it forward. He's not physically present here now, but he didn't want to just see it go on for 10 years or 50 years, 10,000 years, and there's so much more to be done. So we talk about how he's changed the world, but not enough has been done yet. He would tell us that. Not enough has been done. He thinks big, and it depends on all of us and the devotees coming in the future. So I think in terms of the meaning of this event, the most important meaning is we take a deep breath and we realize how fortunate we are, and we become more determined, and as Rompa Swami talked about so beautifully, really take into our heart the compassion that Prabhupada had. We all know where we would be, what a mess we'd be without Prabhupada. In the same way, what about all those other people that just haven't gotten the message yet, that are still thinking drugs and illicit sex and meat eating and exploiting the material resources can make them happy? They don't know there's anything else. And that's our responsibility. Prabhupada took such a sacrifice, as we've been hearing, to come and save us, or as Guru Garanga Prabhu nicely said, to save me. So who's going to save all the other me's? It's not just the gurus. It's not just the sannyasis. It's not just the Prabhupada disciples. It's each and every one of us. So I think that's the meaning. How are we going to take it forward? Srila Prabhupada ki jai.